Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here recording episode 104, and today we are going to be discussing the future state of travel, what travel might be looking like in 5 to 10 years. Who knows? We might have some wild predictions, but maybe in a few years, we might not be too far off. We'll see. So we're looking forward to it, and this episode is for you if you're curious how our travel might be in 5 to 10 years. Maybe it'll be flying cars. Maybe it will be automated hotel rooms where you put your cell phone right in front of the door and it clicks you in. Who knows? But we'll be talking about all sorts of crazy ideas this episode, and it should be fun. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very curious to hear what my good buddy and my co-host Jared has to say today. What's going on, Jared?
Hello. These ideas may seem wild, but at one point, the idea of getting into a flying can and shooting through the air at 500 plus miles per hour seemed pretty crazy. And now it's one of the safest ways to travel. So, anything could sound crazy up until it really exists. But first, please, everyone,
spread a little love.
Follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. Email us, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can sliggity slide into those DMs in the inbox. And
Sliggity it up.
Give us some untranslatable ideas, which are idioms, sayings, proverbs that don't make any sense if literally translated but have a meaning in their own language. You could also give us topic ideas. You can give us song of the pod ideas. You could go to our website, untranslatablepodcast.com, see some of the untranslatables that we talked about on our previous episode. Most of them are there. Or, most importantly, you can
spread a little love
with 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. I repeat, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher.
Wait, Jared, what was that?
spread a little love
5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. And you know what I think that'll do? That'll make us happy. And we like to be happy. You know who also likes to be happy? IKEA. Now, I found this story. This was on this was trending on Twitter's a couple days ago. IKEA will pay someone to go to Copenhagen and see why it's one of the happiest places in the world.
Oh, I saw that, but it was a meme, so I wasn't sure if it was safe to mention it. But okay,
well,
so
your
this
meme
is legit.
news has been upgraded to real news. It's real.
There we go. Okay.
So Copenhagen, Denmark is known for having a high quality of life, and it's one of the 10 most livable cities in the world, according to Economist Intelligence Global Livability Index. Denmark was also ranked the second happiest country on Earth in 2019. Now IKEA wants to send someone to live in Copenhagen for 2 weeks in September to explore what makes its residents so happy. IKEA will pay for all travel expenses, put the winner up in a Danish apartment with IKEA furniture, of course, and also pay them a Danish salary. While the contest didn't clarify how much the salary will be, the trip is valued at $8,000. Which includes the salary, airfare, accommodations, insurance, and other expenses. So salary for the 2 weeks. Now,
You're applying for this, right?
I wish. I mean, I could, I guess, just take vacation for 2 weeks. An IKEA representative IKEA is looking for. This sounds like something you should and could do, by the way. IKEA or Don or something like that. I don't know if I'm the right candidate, only because you have to ingratiate yourself with the people. IKEA is looking for someone who is eager to investigate and act almost like an anthropologist. A representative from IKEA tells CNBC, which is the website I'm reading this from, our happiness hunter will meet many different groups of Danes, as well as lifestyle experts and futurologists, which will soon be after this episode's over.
That is true. And our listeners as well.
Yes. So anyone listening, feel free to apply. The IKEA representative says the goal is to prepare the happiness hunter to answer the questions: where does Danes' happiness originate from, and is it related to the way the Danes live and interact with each other? The winner will also get free guided tours, talks, free dinners, and time to explore on their own, according to the contest, as well as a free kotbula. Do you know what kotbula are?
No idea.
Swedish meatballs at the IKEA restaurant there.
Of course. Can I make a few assumptions on Dane's happiness?
Please.
So I've never been to Denmark before. I do know a few Danish people, but my guess for the reason for their happiness is, one, I think they have a very, very good work-life balance where they have a lot of time to spend with families and friends. I think that's probably a big thing for their high level of happiness. I think the other thing, too, is in a lot of these Scandinavian countries, they have very good social systems set up. So that means if you need to go to the doctor for a standard checkup or an emergency situation, you don't have to worry about the cost of the medical treatment or medical care. You don't have to really worry about it. From what I've heard, the system is not very complex. It's very easy and simple. So I would say those are probably two reasons. I would say the third reason as well is I think that it seems like from the Danish people I've talked to, their culture is more about really enjoying life than just like working to live. Whereas I feel like so many Americans that I know seems like they just work to live, right? So that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay. All right. I think we should apply to this. Applicants have to have at least a basic English speaking skills. Mine
Check
are
that off
basic,
the
but
list.
I think they'll pass. Be 18 years or older. Be
Pass.
quote unquote curious. Have a
I would
love
say both of us are.
have a love for travel and new cultures and the desire to find the secret to happiness. And should also love being in front of a camera and in the spotlight as the winner's journey will be filmed and distributed on IKEA's platform. I think we're perfect for this. We have all those things. We're in front of a camera multiple times a week. I don't know if our podcast focuses specifically on happiness, but I think it's fair to say we focus on travel, new cultures, and are curious, for sure.
And I think a good way to promote happiness is to
Spread a little love.
I'm with you.
right,
Oh,
and
you're
we are
right.
big proponents of that.
We're
big
perfect for
proponents
this.
of that. Exactly. Speaking of new things in our little podcast world, though, Jared, I have started a new playlist on our podcast of German music, and there's about 22 different songs up there right now for everyone to check out.
On
There will
YouTube?
probably be on YouTube. So we have 3 playlists up now. So we have a Song of the Pod playlist, which you all should check out to hear all the different music we've been talking about on each podcast. I've
look at
also
that?
started the Travel Tips series is a playlist,
Would you look at that?
and also a German language music playlist as well, because not only do we love travel, but we also love learning about new cultures and new languages, and music is a great way to do that. I'm hoping to branch out into other languages as well. We really need our listeners' help out there, especially the listeners we have
You betcha.
in countries where they speak languages like Arabic, Spanish, French, could be anything. As long as we get enough music recommendations, I am happy to throw together more playlists of these to promote language learning, cultural learning, and just great tunes all around.
I look at our statistics, and I expect to hear from people from France, Sweden, England, Australia. I'm trying to think of some of our consistent countries. No excuse,
Czech Republic?
people. Yeah, Czech Republic, of course. How did I not think of that?
Yep.
And obviously, there's a lot of listeners in Germany, too. And the list can be as long as you want it to be. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know, and I'll tell Chad that you let me know.
That's right. Have your people call Jared's people, and we'll take care of it. That's for sure.
Exactly.
That is for sure. So it was really fascinating, Jared. I went to a seminar the other day for Fulbright to help. They had a little seminar on Czechs who want to study university at in the U.S. And so I was there with my friend Clara, and the turnout was fairly low. There were 2 people, but with 2 people being there, we could give them a lot more advice and kind of one-on-one tips and everything about applying to universities in the States. And it was really interesting to me, having been removed now, especially from undergrad for what, this is going on 5 years now, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 5 years.
2014. Yeah.
And now, dude, it's crazy. Now what they have is what they call the Common App. Have you heard about this?
Yeah. I think they had that back then, didn't they?
No, I applied straight through Albion. I did not use the Common App for undergrad or grad school.
They did have the Common App. You just didn't use it for Albion.
Okay.
Because I used it for, and it's been around since 1975.
Oh, shit. Okay, I did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I used it for some schools I applied to, but not every school participates in it.
Right. I think it's becoming more common that most universities participate in it.
That's their goal.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. Make it more common, that's for sure. But yeah, it was interesting though to talk to these students, and and it was funny though. I saw a lot of myself in them when I asked them, well, why study in the States? Well, one, because it's really expensive. Two, if you
that's why not study in the States, I would say.
Well, exactly. Right. And so what's funny though is these girls were both like, yeah, we want to have a new experience, go to a different country. We want to improve our English. And I was thinking that is exactly why you and I went to Vienna in the first place. So it was cool. It was cool to talk to them. I hope they can make all their dreams come true and study in the States or wherever that may be. But yeah,
hey, I forgot to tell you. I watched a movie in Spanish the other day.
Oh, that's right. How did that go?
It was good. So the movie was Roma. Have you heard of that movie? It came out, I think, in 2018, and it actually, I think, won some awards. And
that's just Spanish for Rome, right? Or no?
I guess, I don't know. There wasn't really any talk about Rome in the movie.
Okay.
So it's about a lady named Cleo, and she's an indigenous live-in maid in an affluent household in the Colonia Roma neighborhood of Mexico City.
I see. Okay.
So that's why it's called Roma. I want to see what awards it won. But anyway, it was interesting. So it was in black and white, but obviously it came out in 2018, so it was just I don't know what awards it won, but who cares? Because I wouldn't have given any awards. And so the movie was in Spanish originally, so there were obviously English subtitles. And it was interesting hearing, for example, using it as a learning technique. Because, for example, in a lot of situations, the subtitles didn't perfectly match what they were saying. So, there was a moment where the mother said something about her hermano, and which is Spanish for brother. And she was talking to her kids about her hermano. But in the subtitles, it says, hey, we're going to visit your uncle this Christmas. And I was like, interesting. I heard her say hermano. So did she say we're going to visit my brother? But the subtitles changed it to your uncle. So small stuff like that was interesting. Sydney couldn't understand some of it because I think Cleo was speaking. She's they mentioned that she was indigenous. I think she was speaking a different dialect.
Probably.
And so some of it was Spanish, but it wasn't traditional or Spanish that she was used to, at least. But some of it we obviously was normal Spanish because she was speaking with the family who were speaking more traditional Spanish that we're used to, at least. And there wasn't really a plot, so it was over and I was just like, oh okay. But it was just about, so the Cleo, she was a live-in maid with this family, and they treat her like family, it seemed like, for the most part, except for family that you tell them to do stuff for you. Right. And there was a point in which she got pregnant, and as soon as she got pregnant, she told her I wouldn't say boyfriend, but the dude she was seeing in a movie theater, and he's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, and she's she's like, but the movie's almost over, can't you just wait? He's like, no, I'm gonna go now. And then he just left and never came back. She found him later, but it didn't go well. He still wasn't. He's called her a liar and said, if you ever say this again, I'm going to beat you up.
Jeez.
And so the husband of the of the wife that was the employer of Cleo was left too. I guess the theme was men ain't shit. Now that I think about it,
Okay.
because the husband was a doctor, and he says he was at the beginning of the movie. He's like, I got to go to Canada for work, and he didn't go. He was just in Mexico with a mistress.
Oh, jeez. Oh, dear Lord.
But then, so at the end of it, she's telling her kids that she's getting a divorce, and Cleo gave birth to the baby, but the baby died while giving birth, so no baby. Spoiler alert, by the way, for anyone that was planning on watching this. And then, so they're at the place. So they went on like a small little road trip with the family, the mom, the kids, and Cleo, and that's where she told the kids about the divorce. And then they were hanging out at the beach, and Cleo saved the kids from almost drowning. Once again, spoiler alert. And it was like they're all hugging each other at the end, being like, "Oh, I'm glad you're all okay." And then it was just them driving back home, and then the movie ended. And I was like, okay. It was very, so cinematographically, that's not a word, but I just made a one. It was very beautifully shot, but like I don't really get it. Like, what's the point? I don't know. I just didn't get it.
Okay. Did you learn any new words from it, though?
No. But it did help me identify words. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And ask like questions on like, oh, do they say this sentence like this because of this? Or like, there are probably words I learned in the moment, but I couldn't think of them right now. Now, would it be helpful for while I'm doing this to like have my notebook and write down words I learn? Or something, or just
you could, or after the movie. It's probably better to do it while it's going. The other thing I would suggest too, not that there's anything wrong with watching a new movie, but I would suggest watching a movie you've already seen in English, so you know what the plot's about, so you can focus more on the language. Because
maybe there's a whole elaborate plot that I didn't even catch.
I mean, could be. It very well could be. That's the thing when you're learning a new language and you're watching a movie. It took me years, and still, even though my German's pretty good, there's still times when I watch movies in German that are like new movies that are German, and I'll get like maybe 60, 70% of the plot because I still have to focus a lot on the language.
Right.
And with movies too, you have background noise, you have music, you have all this stuff going on. It's not like listening to a podcast in German where it's only really the language, right? So that's a big difference. But I would definitely suggest, because I've seen this movie in Spanish and in English, watch Coco in Spanish. It's fantastic in Spanish.
Yeah,
it's a great movie anyways.
Yeah, I've seen that movie before too. Obviously in English. So yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, I mean, it's weird to call it a good movie. It was interesting to watch. Let's put it that way.
Would you watch it again?
I don't know. This wasn't a plot really. It was just like the life of this family and this maid.
Okay.
Like
so maybe not.
Like I need something to like I wasn't really like there wasn't really any sort of conflict other than just the struggles of her living the way she was, and the struggles of the dad just disappearing and leaving the family. But there wasn't like a real plot. That's the only thing.
Right.
But I enjoyed what it looked like though.
Right.
And I don't know, but I'll find more. There's I did what you recommended. I just typed Spanish into Netflix and I got some options. So
there's definitely a lot of them. I was watching when I was still living in East Lansing. I was a part of this grant, research grant there at MSU to see how effective Babbel is, which is like an online language learning course, which I love Babbel. It's fantastic. But what I also did every day at lunch or dinner, if my ex wasn't in the apartment, I would watch telenovelas in Spanish. So I watched, I believe, I watched, I believe it's called, what is it called? Like La Reina del Sur. It's like the Queen of the South or something like that.
Okay.
I watched that one. That one has like tons and tons and tons of episodes. So that was one I watched. I mean, it's half Spanish, half English.
Oh,
I was watching
La Reina del
Narcos.
Sur.
Yep, that was the one.
I typed in telenovelas, and that was the first one that came up. So,
And then there's another one too that's like, what is it called? It's like something like Woman of Iron or something like that. Woman of Silver. It's another Spanish telenovela on Netflix. That one wasn't too bad either. I watched that one, and it was really good though. It helped me. I would say more than anything, it really improved my comprehension of Spanish. I wouldn't really say, because you're not really speaking, right? Unless when they're like, ¿por qué? And then you make up some answer in Spanish while you're watching, you know?
Right.
But yeah, that's great though, man. That makes me happy you got to see a movie in Spanish. I'm also curious, before we spread some love, what's actually Sydney's story with Spanish?
She just started learning it in high school. That's really it. It was all she's not, she's probably not perfectly fluent, but she's good at it, and she's near fluent, and it was all just through high school and college.
That's awesome.
And she studied abroad in college, but she started in high school, and they just I think I told you this. I don't know if it was on the pod or not, but her school was a rarity, I guess, according to her, and the fact that they actually like focused on speaking rather than just like grammar classes.
Right. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I think that school deserves a shout out and some love to be spread.
Shout out to that high school.
Spread a little love.
And now it's time for some shout outs. And my first one goes out to the country of Costa Rica, because they are banning the use of styrofoam containers. So on Thursday, legislators approved in the second and final debate the law that prohibits the import, marketing, and distribution of polystyrene containers, better known as styrofoam. And so the violation can be a hefty one. Actually, I'm not sure how hefty this would be because this is in their currency, but it's 446,200 colones to 4.46 million colones if you are a business using styrofoam. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. And the government is also going to support companies in the transition to more environmentally friendly containers before the law comes into force 20 months after the official law was signed into place. So I think that's really amazing. It's great for the environment. And hopefully they'll also be able to find some ways to maybe boost the economy by using alternative types of containers, which would be awesome.
446,200 colones is $763.
Okay.
So
what's
the other one's
4.46 million?
So that's probably what, 7,000 then? Because you're just times 10?
Yeah.
It used to always annoy me. It was weird. I was conflicted because at our school, our fraternities used a whole bunch of styrofoam cups.
It was all styrofoam cups.
And they're very insulating, but it is just gross waste of styrofoam and it was very wasteful.
And if you think about it, I mean, we had 30, 40 guys in the house, maybe max. If you gave each of them their own cup, not even styrofoam, give them like a cup or a glass or something.
We had those, just no one used them because we're all lazy.
Lazy, yeah, that's true. Well, I think some of it also, unfortunately, and this is clearly laziness as well, but the fact that like the cups were like in a cupboard. Not that you couldn't walk and go to the cupboard and get it, which proves how lazy we were. But I think if you would have put the cups maybe out in the open and put the styrofoam cups in a different place, maybe it would have been less likely. That's why whenever I'm at home, I leave my guitars on a stand somewhere. So it's like, because if I keep them in the closet in the cases, in a way, it's almost like out of sight, out of mind, right? So if I keep them out where I can see them all the time, I'm always reminded, oh yeah, I can grab this and play it, right?
Yes. By the way, I have a treat for next episode. Literally, my mom just sent me an email of weird sayings that she remembers remembers my grandma saying from her childhood.
Cool. I'm excited for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. We might. I can think of some weird ones too. Maybe the next episode we should do weird family sayings.
Okay,
might be kind of fun. But my next shout out though, Jared, goes out to doing all the countries today, and today I am giving a shout out to Bhutan, where teachers and medical staff will now be the highest paid civil servants, which is absolutely amazing. because let's be honest, our medical professionals and our teachers are very, very important pillars of every society. And they deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, and also be able to live a comfortable life. They shouldn't have to scrape by just, based on their salary. Especially that's a big problem in the States right now. So
And
I think that's great.
The increase in pay for teachers could directly translate to better teaching and indirectly translate to improving the education for students too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt. And my last shout out goes out to the very famous, very amazing, very intelligent Lady Gaga, who is championing an Australian teen mental health program in the U.S. right now. So her foundation called Born This Way released a YouTube video filmed at one of her Las Vegas residency shows where she's promoting a new mental health program for young people. And she says, and I quote, "We are in 8 different schools, but we are going to add 20 more very soon. For me, quite frankly, my dream is that this happens in every school," which I think is amazing. I think we need to take care of our children, our teenagers, and we need to really give them the assistance they need, whether that be with mental health, whatever it could be. And, this program can save lives, can really help a lot of people. I remember when I was in high school, we had a few students who committed suicide.
Really?
And I wonder, and I wonder, had we have had mental health programs set up for them, maybe they would still be with us today. So I think that's amazing. Yeah. Kudos to you, Lady Gaga. That's fantastic. Yes.
All right. You know what that means.
Yes, I do. It is that time. So, Jared, I had my boots on the ground this week and did some untranslatable research in the classroom with my students because sadly this week and then Monday and Tuesday will be my last lessons with my students here, which blows my mind. And so what I did was I figured, what is right up my alley? What is my best expertise that I can teach these students? What more than American idioms and phrases? Especially after doing this untranslatable podcast, I feel even more adept and comfortable talking about phrases, explaining them, all that stuff. So I taught them a bunch of different American idioms, things like piece of cake, which for our non-native English speakers out there, it means like when something's easy. Up my alley, when it's like something you're good at. There were tons of them. Hit the hay, which means go to sleep. Lots and lots of them. Ride shotgun was another one. So there were a lot of good ones. And so what I had them do, though, first is I wanted to make sure they understood what an idiom was. So what I had them do, of course, is write me Czech idioms and translate them into English. So brilliant. It was. I not to toot my own horn, but I was happy with it. So the first one that I would like to read to you is secat Latinu, which means to cut the Latin.
It's like make it simple, like stop overcomplicating it.
No. So, for example, maybe we have a travel tips episode coming up in a city where there's a lot of different things, right? And there's so many things that you can't do them all, so you have to really cut the Latin and be very decisive with what you choose.
Oh, so it's like focus in on something.
Very good. Okay. Very good. I was worried that example would throw you completely off the trail, but good work.
By the way, that episode that you're talking about has already come out, and it was on Berlin, and we hope you enjoyed it.
That's right.
My first one is Danish. Since I was talking about how happy they are, I figured I'd throw them some untranslatable love.
Let's do it.
And it's hold da helt ferie, and it means to take a whole vacation, which I bet you it's very easy to do in Denmark because they're so happy and people are treated well there.
Take a whole vacation. Is this like to just really enjoy yourself?
No. It would probably be more said like this. Take a whole vacation.
Okay. Like, I don't know, you do you? I have no idea.
So,
Give me an
I
example.
mentioned to you that I'm starting a new job soon, and I told you I didn't tell you how much I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid $6 million a year, and
nice.
that's before bonuses. And your response to that would be take a whole vacation.
Is that like get out of here?
What would we say though? You're so close.
Get out of here! You're pulling my leg.
We have a no. We have an English untranslatable. Get out of
town.
There we go.
Oh, get out of town, Jared.
Yes, there we go.
$6 million. Okay. You're gonna hook a brother up with one of the 1 million of that 6 million, right? I'll give you music lessons all day, every day for the rest of eternity. All right, my next one is obviously Czech. I have 3 Czech ones. 2 left, and I think I may have said this one, but it's a great one anyways. So I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
So, vypustit paru, which means let the steam out.
I'm gonna guess it's not the same as English. Blowing off some steam.
Hit that ham horn, my man.
Oh,
Too easy, but it's a good one. It's a very good one.
Let the steam out.
Vypustit paru.
Vypustit paru.
Parada.
My next one is Indonesian, and it's semut deser berang lautan tampak gojadi pelupuk matatak tampak.
Exactly. It's exactly what I was thinking, Jared.
An ant across the sea is visible. An elephant on the eyelid is invisible.
So is this like the things that are right in front of your face are the least obvious?
No.
Okay. Can you give me a clue?
So, this is obviously not a real example. This is, let me make it clear, this is not a real example, but I'm going to use real people just to make it easier.
Okay.
When you and I were in Prague, we had a couple pivos, and Don was sitting there looking at us being like, beer is so bad for you. I would never drink beer. Beer is what causes people to die young, and you should be ashamed of yourself, as he was snorting coke at the table. And our response to him was, an ant across the sea is visible, and an elephant on the eyelid is invisible.
Okay, so this is like... Well, this is like you're being a hypocrite, right?
Essentially, it's when a person can easily see flaws in others, but not themselves.
Okay. Okay. I like that one. Okay.
And that was actually not a joke. Don, wherever we went, he was snorting coke at the bars, at restaurants, just on the table. It was very embarrassing.
You're going to get Don in so much trouble. Oh, my God. Okay, my next one is Czech, obviously, and it is Chcip tupez. The dog has died here, or where the dog died. This is a difficult one.
It's like you hit the nail on the head, essentially.
Nope.
Okay.
This is like when you, Don, and I were in Prague, and I took you guys to the park up on the top of the hill, Letna Park. And then when we got there, you could have said, "Oh, the dog died here."
Who farted?
I like how quick you were to say that. No, it just means like a place that's calm and peaceful.
Oh.
Which, yeah, I don't really get that one, but...
Well, maybe when dogs, if a dog knows that they're going to die, they go somewhere peaceful and just lie down.
Could be. Yeah, that's a good theory. I like it. I like it.
I have one more.
Let's hear it.
And it's Haitian Creole. And it's Waap voye fle. And it means you're throwing flowers.
Is that like you're pulling my leg?
Not really.
No.
Kinda. Maybe kinda, but the judges don't like it.
Judges don't like it. Okay, you're throwing flowers. Is it like you're making something seem way better than it is?
No.
Okay, what is it?
To not take something seriously, to talk nonsense, or to act silly.
Okay. We throw flowers occasionally on the Untranslatable podcast, that's for sure.
I would say so, but not now. We're talking about the future. We're talking about science. We're talking about technology.
We're talking about
Shit's about to
travel.
get real.
That's right.
So yeah, the future of travel. I recently I read that article about how there's issues with over tourism in certain areas in Europe, and that's because travel is becoming more accessible. And I think that at least that is my first thought about the future of travel is it's only going to continue to get more and more accessible and cheaper. And as plane flights become better, and as they become more commonplace, even more commonplace, they're very commonplace now, I think it's only going to get cheaper and cheaper. And as like the luxuries of travel slowly start to get stripped away through like companies like Spirit or Frontier or Wow Air, they stripped a little too many of those luxuries away to the point where they don't even exist anymore. But they used to be one of those low-cost airlines too. So I think that's number one. It's definitely going to get cheaper, and I think it's a good thing. I think that we like a lot can be learned, and a lot can be I think it really helps society for people to get out of their homes.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of ignorance that people experience is due to them just never going anywhere.
I agree. I think travel is one of the biggest ignorance breakers out there for sure, without a doubt. I have to agree that accessibility will get better. It will become more affordable. And I think it will also in the future be even more convenient and comfortable. So what I mean by this is we're already seeing you can do almost everything on your smartphone, right? When you travel, you can book accommodation, you can find maps, you can buy tickets for a lot of places. In Prague, we bought our tickets for our public transportation on a phone app. So I think that everything is going to be more internet-based, more smartphone-based, app-based. And like I mentioned at the very, very top of the show, I think it could be possible in the future for you to have like some like QR code or something on your phone, and that would be like your key card for your room or something like that.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. I think also, in addition to that, the security should be getting, like TSA-style security should get quicker and or more likely more invasive as well, too.
Probably,
but
yeah.
I think that process could be sped up a lot. Like, instead of having to, now we have to take stuff off and now you have to take off your belt and stuff, I feel like that's going to be antiquated soon. Like, maybe there'll still be similar systems, but I think they'll work faster and not require us to take stuff off. Maybe the machines can start recognizing a belt versus a bomb.
Right.
Let's play a new game, Belt or Bomb. Dude, I was at the grocery store the other day, one that I don't usually go to, and I saw something I've never seen before. Now, this is just a speculation on what this is, but it was a large plastic robot, and so it didn't look like a person or anything. It was just like a little it almost looked like it was just like something that was looked like a light post almost, but like with a plastic thing around it. And I believe it was like to prevent shoplifting. I think there was a camera in it or something, but it was just rolling around this area of the grocery store, making like a beeping noise every now and again. And I'm like, what is this for? And I assume that's what it was for. I don't know what else it would be for.
Right.
But I've definitely never seen that before.
Can you imagine you check into a hotel and this like robot thing comes up and takes your bag and like rolls it up to your room?
I mean, that seems so easy to do. Like, especially if you just program type in a room. No, probably won't have to type in the room numbers to put your QR code from your thing on your phone up to the thing, and it'll lead you to your room with your baggage. That doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility at all. And I mean, that is something to be nervous about. Is like the number of service people that won't be necessary. And I went to a innovation and arts innovation conference thing a couple weeks ago, and what they said is that positions will be taken away due to technology, but it'll free up more space for creativity. And I don't know how much I agree with that, but I don't know how much that'll translate into the lack of loss of jobs or whatever. But I think that there will be Like, I'm almost surprised that there's already not like a fully automated hotel out there somewhere
Right.
that doesn't involve people.
And I'm sure within the next 10 to 15 years, there will be hotels where you wouldn't even encounter an entire human being in terms of like workers, going
Right.
to like the check-in desk, none of that, which in a way makes me a little bit sad because I think that can be a nice touch if you have nice people working at the reception.
Especially like a concierge. That's like part of the perks of having a hotel is someone to show, give you recommendations.
Right. Can you imagine though? I mean, with AI and everything else, you could in theory have that concierge at your fingertips at all times with an
Or
app.
just Google it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like the crazy thing about technology, also data mining as well, which is a scary topic in general. But like these companies that do a lot of data mining on your phones or whatever, in theory, they could give you probably already have some type of app or something that just spits out, oh, we know you like these things. Here's this museum and this restaurant and this concert going on. And
Based off of where you've gone or what you've purchased in the past, just like through formulas, figure out the best fits for you in whatever city you're in or whatever.
Right.
I could definitely see that. So another one I was thinking of is not having to go anywhere at all to travel. And what I mean is traveling through VR. Yes, the Oculus Rift or whatever they call them.
Right.
The only thing about that is I feel like even with those, there's no way to experience the people, culture, or food.
Yep.
So you might be able to put those on and fully immerse yourself within any city and say walk around fully any city, but you can't replicate people and you can't really replicate the food through VR, at least yet.
Right. Yeah, you never know. That would be wild. You have like a plate and you put like you type in the coordinates of whatever and you have a droplet and you drop it on the plate and then bloop, there's your.
It's like from the first Spy Kids when they're in the safe house,
Right.
and they put the bags in the microwave and it just comes out with like a full McDonald's meal.
Right. Oh, that would be crazy.
But I think even if you can't experience the people, culture, and food stuff, I think it would still be awesome to be able to experience and see what other cities look like in a pretty realistic edition of it. And they have stuff similar to this. Now I don't know how good the how realistic it is, but there are you can buy things like treadmills and stuff that will recreate you running through say Paris or something like that.
Right.
But it's not. I don't know if it's as realistic because one, I don't think you're actually wearing VR VR headset. I think it's just like a screen.
Right.
And I think you can really up the realism of that. Let's put it that way.
For sure. The other cool thing about that is that would be a great way to prep for a city you're going to, right?
Yeah.
Like you and I like to wander around, and this would be a really good way to get your bearings before you even get there, which would be really cool to feel like you already know your way around. I love that feeling when you go to a city that you're familiar with and you rarely need to reference your phone for maps or anything. You can just walk around, which is great.
I felt that way in Michigan.
Right. Another thing too that I think we will see more in the future is different travel environments. And what I mean by this is completely underwater hotels, for example, space travel, depending on how expensive that will be.
I can tell you. I can tell you how expensive it is right now.
Okay.
So, do you know that Richard Branson, who's the owner of Virgin Atlantic, I think someone bought it recently, or some company bought it recently, but he has a he has something that he called Branson's Virgin Galactic Flight.
Okay.
And a number of celebrities have already bought reserved spots on it. And some of them include Justin Bieber,
Of course.
your favorite. I'm surprised you haven't recommended him for a song of the pod. He is Canadian. Ashton Kutcher, Leonardo DiCaprio, Angelina Jolie, just to name a few. And so there's this. They're paying for a seat aboard a 6-passenger spaceship. Well, they call it Spaceship 2. Currently for sale for guess how much?
$75,000.
Man, every time you do one of these, it just reminds me how much of a broke boy you are.
$1 million.
All right, relax. No, it's it's $250,000.
Damn.
And up to this point, this is crazy. More than 600 people have put deposits down to reserve a spot. Now, I don't know if the deposit is the entire $250,000, but it's probably at least like 10% of it. So people are putting down some big money for something that's not even close to existing.
That's crazy. I don't think I would do space travel until it's been around for a while and all the bugs have been worked out, because I could see, like, if you're on one of those first ones, ooh, you might get stuck out there or crash or who knows.
What about the underwater hotel idea? That makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I would rather like stay in a hotel that's like cut into a mountain or something than underwater. But it might be kind of cool. I don't know.
I just found one. There is. I'm looking at the Condé Nast Traveler website, and these are the 8 coolest underwater hotels in the world. And there's one in Shanghai. Oh man, well, this is so cool because the view is literally out into the ocean.
Right.
And the price per night at the Shanghai one is $15,000. And it's 20 miles outside of the city. Now, there's this one is in a submarine, and it's in St. Lucia, which I believe is like one of the British islands.
I think so, yeah.
That's $230,000 per night.
Oh, dear Lord.
Damn.
Do they actually have people staying there?
I mean, there's a real website for it, Oliver's Travel. It's a real thing, yeah.
That's so wild.
I guess so. I'm looking at rooms.
I cannot imagine dropping that much on one night. That is crazy.
And it's like a luxury submarine.
I mean, it better be luxury for how much you're paid for it.
But
That's
I mean,
sure.
but you go on like normal cruise ships, and it's like you're in a room smaller than my closet. The Muraka, Conrad, Maldives, Rangali Island, $50,000 per night, and there's a 4-night minimum, so it's no cheaper than $200,000.
Oh dear Lord!
There's one in. Oh wow, this one's not that bad. Wow, there's a 3-night minimum. There's one in Tanzania, the Manta Resort, Pemba Island, and it's off the coast of Zanzibar. And that's $1,700 per night, but you have to do 3 nights. Another one of the Maldives.
Cheaper than all of the other ones.
That's true. Another one of the Maldives is for $1,265. So there are a few of them. There's one in Singapore for $1,750. One in Dubai for $8,200. So there are a few. Holy shit! Sorry, excuse me. Part of my French. There's one in Sweden. Utter Inn. Versteras, Sweden. The Utter Inn offers a single underwater room floating so it floats above the water, but then there's a portion of it that's under the water. Near Stockholm, it may not be as luxurious as some of the other hotels on the list, but the room's twin beds and end table are just as perfect for a quiet romantic vacation. And $165 a night.
That's not
I could
bad.
do that.
You trying to take a vacation, buddy?
Oh my gosh. And yeah, it's nowhere close to as luxurious as the other ones, but I mean that would be pretty cool.
Good place to record a podcast, that's for sure.
So yeah, especially I guess we'd have to be in person. I don't know what the Wi-Fi is like underwater.
Right.
But but yeah, so that's a thing. That's definitely a thing.
So I have another interesting idea about future travel.
Okay.
You know, obviously we have seen the rise and the boom of social media within the last, probably 10 years, maybe even 5 years. I think that there will be more social types of travel in the future, meaning that, you know, we already have apps like Airbnb, couch surfing, where you have like hangouts, meetups, different things. I think there might even be, especially with people maybe our age or even the generation below us that grew up with social media, where people will really, I think, do a lot of social travel, especially if you travel alone or with 1 or 2 friends, where you could, you know, meet up with other people, stay at different places, have different events and things like this, which obviously doesn't sound that exciting or flashy, but I think it will become even more common in the future.
Just a better, easier ways to connect with travelers in different places.
Hopefully. I know it's a very rosy picture I'm painting right now, but I would like to see that in the future, because what my concern with all this technology is that it's making us disconnected, and the whole point is to connect us. So hopefully that's what will happen in the future. But speaking of technology, I think another type of travel that might become very popular in the future would be where you basically like detach yourself for like a weekend. So you go to like a hotel or a resort or something where they have no Wi-Fi, no computers, no screens. You go there with your friends or your family and you kind of detox from the internet and technology for like a day or a weekend or a week.
Hopefully it's more than a day. But yeah, so you like check in, but at like the front, there's a spot to like check in your phone and all that stuff.
Yep.
And you just have nothing, no TVs in the room.
Right.
I would love that. And I don't claim to be better than anyone as far as that stuff goes. I'm just as addicted as everyone else, and I think that it would be helpful for me to be forced into that. Not obviously not forced to go there, but for like put myself in a situation where I'm forced to give up that stuff rather than be like trusting myself to be like, all right, I won't scroll through Twitter while I'm on vacation or something like that.
And you know what would be cool for that is if they gave you a Polaroid or some type of camera,
disposable camera.
So you could still take pictures and document your experience, but then you don't, because a lot of times I catch myself, I'm only using my phone so I can like take pictures when I go places, right?
Right.
And so it would be really cool if they gave you like a disposable camera or something so you could still document your experiences and stuff. But you could this would be a really good thing to have like a retreat kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You'd go for like a nice hike. I obviously would bring an acoustic guitar with me. Yeah. Also, I'm super stoked when I get back to the States. I have a mandolin, and I'm hoping to start to play that a little bit more because I only know a few chords. So like I would bring a couple instruments with me, which would be cool. If I were to have one of these places, I would obviously have a piano. You'd have to have like a jam room, but like only acoustic, I think, which would give it a different kind of vibe. Because like
so I couldn't bring my keyboard?
Nope, there'd be a piano there for you. You'd be good to go.
All right.
Yeah. Because once again,
I like that idea though.
Yeah, because I think that there's just something like very freeing of not being around a bunch of electricity, a bunch of technology and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love technology as much as the next person, but like there have been a few times where I've gone camping and like, just put my phone in my bag and there was no other technology. It was a campfire, talking to your friends, enjoying the beautiful view of the stars and everything, and it's great.
On my camping experiences, those have, especially the ones where you don't have signal, those have been like when I went to North Carolina with Brad a couple of months ago. Those are when you have some of the best conversation where there's literally no distraction and all there is, alcohol and you sitting around a fire. Just time goes so slowly because there's nothing distracting you, and that's probably where I've had some of my best conversations.
Right.
And
for sure.
And as this technology progresses, I think it'll be more and more necessary that we force ourselves away from it for a break from it. I haven't had a break from my social media and phone probably ever, and maybe I should look into that.
It's important.
I think also another thing is there's going to be less necessity to go to offices. So now I don't know what the future of e-commuting, which is working away, working not in an office, would be for you as a teacher. I mean, there are situations where you can do that, but as far as like schools and stuff, I don't know if that'll be an option anytime soon. But as far as people working, more standard 9-to-5s where they just go to a cubicle and work at a computer all day, the necessity for people to work in an office is quickly going down, and even like meetings and stuff like that, you don't really need to be there, or sharing documents, signing stuff, all that stuff. But I bet that would make I think that would help with stuff like this over tourism that we're talking about. I think it'll take less of more of a burden off of like quote unquote peak tourism time, because these peak tourism times are mostly built around when people have vacation, and then when when kids have vacation too, is a lot of it as well.
Sure.
But I think that'll be a lot. The burden will be taken off for people that say don't have kids and aren't trying to fix it around school time, and say it's like, all right, well now I can go in this time when I know it'll be less busy and I don't really have to take time off from work, which I think is a pro and con. You know, when we were in Europe, Don was bragging about how his work needs him, and how if he leaves, then the whole company stops working. And I was like, that's not a good thing. But because of that, even though he has essentially unlimited vacation, and so they don't like count your vacation like that. But the trade-off is they expect you to always be on call, and so I think that part of this whole not the necessity to not need to work at your office might help you be more freed up to travel when you want. But I think it might also make it harder for people to fully go on vacation and purely have time when they're disconnecting from work. Because It's like, listen, you could be here and maybe we won't expect you to work 24 hours, but you still are just as capable to work here as you are if you were in the office. So I think there's a pro and con to that. Because I think even if you can work anywhere, there is still a necessity to having a vacation where you're fully disconnected from what's happening at work.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that will also change the way people travel, as in, like, if you can work more digitally and you're not as bound to being in one place, then maybe the cost of flights to nearby places, at least in the States, might go down, maybe because people might be able to have the freedom to go visit other cities and stuff. And I think then you might also see maybe a bump in like shorter tours. Like, I feel like a lot of tours you go on are like all day long. Right. And maybe like some shorter, like couple hour tours for like people who are digital nomads who have to like work at a certain time. Mm-hmm. I mean, free walking tours seem like they're all the rage right now in Europe. And so maybe there will be more of those as well, because they're kind of a little bit shorter, a little bit more impromptu, and you can kind of come and go as you please, which is really nice. I think the beauty of what we'll see in the future, hopefully, is there will just be more flexibility with travel. As you mentioned, it will be more affordable. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is the transportation. I think there will be a lot of changes in transportation. And imagine when self-driving cars are the norm, how epic road trips can be.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
Right? I mean, you literally, we could go from Michigan to California. Exactly. And you have your own little party bus.
Yeah.
And it's your own personal car.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like driving, and I like cars and stuff. But there are situations where I think that self-driving cars would be great. Like, for example, commuting to work in the morning, especially like my old commute at my last job was just like a slog through the city. And I would love if I didn't have to actually sit there and drive, stop at a stop sign. Drive, stop at a stop sign.
Right. I mean, imagine how much more productive you'd be.
Yeah.
Like that 20, 30-minute commute every day or more. You could be reading. You could have like a little mini gym in your car or something, doing push-ups, getting swole on the way to work. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy options out there. Yeah. You could be doing work on your way to work, I guess, if you were so inclined. I mean,
well, they do that for like Google, and I think Facebook as well do that. Like, they have buses that'll like carpool buses, and they have Wi-Fi on them. And I don't think you're required to work on them, but I bet you a lot of people do.
Right.
And I think that the only thing about that, I just thought of something. The only thing about the self-driving cars thing is I think it'll also lead to like a big improvement in situations like that are popular for you in Europe, like bus trips and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it'll make those safer, obviously, and I think quicker also. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll even improve the buses. Now, the trains, I'm surprised trains aren't already automated at this point. Right. They're on tracks.
Right. You would think they would be by now, but I think
there's still someone behind there pushing a little lever.
Right. Yeah, who knows? I'm excited to see what the future holds in terms of travel. I think it will be really exciting. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I just hope it will give more people the opportunity to travel, give them more flexibility, and obviously make it more affordable and more convenient, which is always good.
Yeah, I have one more, and that's a tunnel connecting the U.S. to Europe.
That would be awesome.
I feel like there's been a lot of talk about that over the years, but no one's actually done it. And the only thing about it is you would have to have some sort of like super high-speed transport, not super high-speed, but some sort of high-speed transportation system, because I don't think it would be practical to drive that. Like, that would take like days. But if you could have like something that travels like the speed of a high-speed train but faster, I think that would be awesome.
Wasn't it Elon Musk that proposed the Hyperloop? The Hyperloop, and that would get you from like Chicago to Detroit in like half an hour?
I don't know. I know there was one that he was doing just in LA to avoid traffic, and if you had a Tesla, then you could like drive underground. Oh, that's not the Hyperloop. That's the Boring Company.
Okay.
The Hyperloop, I'm looking at it now, is a proposed mode of transportation of passenger and or freight transportation for first used to describe an open source vac train design. In a vacuum. Released by a joint team from Tesla and SpaceX. So yeah, and I don't know where it doesn't say where it would go from where to where. There are a bunch of proposed routes, not just that one, but that is one of the proposed routes. There's one for just the LA area, one for San Francisco, and then some that are more interstate or throughout the country.
Right.
And I think that the one that Elon Musk is working on right now is specifically for Los Angeles, and it's for if you have a Tesla, you can go on this thing and it goes underground, and your car sits on like this sort of skateboard thing, and it shoots your car to across the city way quicker than if you're just driving through traffic.
Right.
And it seems kind of dumb to me because I get that it might be quicker, but it's not really like an efficient form of transportation because it's still one car on one skateboard. It's like I think if you're going to be doing that, make it something more mass transportation based rather than just your one car going on this thing. Obviously, you could probably hold more than one car, but you're still just one person sitting in your one car. And I think that if you're going to do that, it would make more sense to make it something for the public and not just for a Tesla owner.
Oh, for sure.
I would love to benefit.
Right. Me either. I would also love to see in the future for the whole world to be connected by tunnels. You want to jet off to Moscow, go for it. You want to go to Tanzania, go for it. Paris tomorrow, sure. We'll hop in the train in the tunnel and off we go. Go to India, go anywhere. It would be really amazing. I don't think we'll ever see it because of political conflicts and things, and borders between countries.
Right.
But I think if somehow there was ever a way where the world was peaceful enough and everyone was cool with this idea, I think there could be a lot of benefits. I think it would help a lot of economies. It could be really good, and it would also help people experience other cultures, which I think is also very important.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That would be cool. And yeah, I guess a huge issue would be like stuff like passports and all that stuff, and how do they do that? But I think the world will see it. I just don't think we'll see it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, maybe not. You're right.
But it seems
that's
possible.
way in the future for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Jared, speaking of cool things, I think we should move on and talk about the song of the pod. What do you think?
Yes. The song of the pod was recommended by you, and the guy's name is John Butler. And if I'm not mistaken, he lives in America, but he's Australian.
I'm not sure where he lives, but he is Australian.
Okay, and he was. It's a piece on an acoustic guitar, but he uses the acoustic guitar in ways that honestly I don't even know were possible. Now I've seen
very futuristic, right?
It is. It's electric acoustic, first of all.
Yeah.
And
it's a 12-string.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Now I've seen like the people use acoustic guitars as like percussion, but I'm confused because there are points where he's playing it, but he's not even plucking it. He's just like doing it on the fretboard thing, and noises are coming out. I don't even know how that's possible.
I'll give you the guitar term for it, Jared. It's called a hammer-on, and it's basically the same concept as a piano. When the hammer hits the string, it vibrates, right? So it's the same on a guitar. If you push down hard enough, and if you watch him, it's not only pushing down but also releasing. And that's called what we call a pull-off on guitar.
So the way he releases, he plucks as he releases?
Yeah, well, you can make a sound by hammering it on, by hitting the string if you hit it hard enough to make it vibrate. You can also make a sound by releasing your finger, and it makes it vibrate.
Okay. And also, another thing I noticed is that when you were in the height of your classical guitar playing, your nails were immaculate. And I noticed that one of his nails
His thumbnail.
like was that the one? Looked like he just got out of like the manicure chair. And like it was so long. It was crazy. I think people call that a Coke nail.
I think that's supposed to be your pinky.
Okay.
I think I'm not wrong. Don't quote me on that. Or I'm not sure, but don't quote me on that. But so what he does is he plays an 11 string. It's a 12 string guitar, but he takes off the G string. Of course, that's the string he takes off. The G string.
You seem offended by that.
Which is. It's just kind of ironic because that's also a slang term for some fancy underpants, right? A lot of guitar players will make jokes about it, like, oh yeah, my G string is old or something, and they just mean the third string on the guitar, right?
Right.
The reason why he takes that off is because at least on a lot of guitars, this string sometimes will have tuning issues, and when you have a 12 string, you have double, so you have octaves on all the strings, so it's very easy for these strings to get out of tune, right? So you see super long nails, and they are fake nails. Obviously, they're like a very bright white. They're fake.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're fake.
Oh.
Yeah, normal people don't have nails that look like that. Yeah, they're definitely fake. But there's two reasons why I chose this song for our song on the pod. One, it's just an epic song. And two, I saw him live in 2016 in Royal Oak, Michigan, and he played this, and it was one of the best songs I've heard live by a guitar player. And you're right, the way he plays percussion on the guitar, he hits certain areas of the guitar that makes it more sound like a snare. Other parts are like the bass. It's just absolutely amazing. The melody is fantastic. The build-up, everything is great. And it's called Ocean by John Butler, and it's absolutely amazing. This is probably one of his most famous instrumental pieces he has.
Now, when you saw that, did you go home and try to replicate it?
Of course not. No.
Oh, no.
Because I think I could learn it, but he just does such a good job.
Maybe not the song specifically, but like the style.
Not really, because I'm more of an electric player or a classical player. I mean, I play acoustic, but I don't have a 12 string. I actually do need to add a 12 string to my arsenal because they sound great.
I'm sure you do need to add one.
I do. They sound great. They're very kind of airy. You get like this really nice tone from it, very shimmery and airy. But the thing about it is that, I'm not great at like, this is why I'm terrible at piano. I'm not great at like, if you watch him, he will fret notes with his right hand, which is usually the hand you strum on guitar, and also play notes with his left hand, which we call tapping.
Right.
And the way he does it, he'll have like two different melodies going on, or a bass line and a melody. And it's very, very difficult to do that. I mean, you have to teach yourself, just like piano, you have to teach yourself the bass line, you have to teach yourself the harmonies or the melody, and then put those two together. So it's very time consuming. So no, I have not tried to replicate it, but it would be fun to be able to play in this style for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it sounded very nice too. I liked it. That was a good choice.
So check that out on our Twitter, Untranslatable1. The song of the pod this week is Ocean by John Butler.
You betcha.
And he is in the John Butler Trio. And they have a lot of great music to check out as well. So we hope you enjoy. Also check out our YouTube channel, which has a playlist with songs of the pod. And also our travel tips playlist and a playlist with German music. And we're hoping to add other languages as well. So time to move on to Czech word of the pod. And mine is budoucnost. Great word, budoucnost.
Future.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Parada.
Now, I had a couple ideas for my... Well, I'll just tell you what it is first. Inventar.
Invention? To invent?
To invent, yes.
Okay.
Now, I had a couple options, and I wanted to find some. The tough part about choosing Spanish words of the pod is that a lot of them are similar to English words.
Right.
So if I want you to guess, it's going to be kind of obvious. So, like, I want to do technology, but that's essentially the same thing. Future is essentially the same
Futura,
thing.
right?
I don't remember exactly what it was now, but it's, futuro.
Futuro. Okay.
So all these words are so similar, but I wanted to do one of those, so I just chose
Inventar is a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How's the verb conjugation going for you with Spanish?
Well, we haven't really been focusing as much on like the learning and the way that I have been, so it hasn't really come up.
Okay. Well, I mean, the most important thing for you would be learning how to use the I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the you.
I still get confused about yo versus soy. Estar versus
Soy and yeah.
versus whatever the other one is.
Right.
Because
one
of them is like permanent, and the other one is like for like
change in state,
something temporary or something like that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
But I always get them mixed up. Which is which?
Right. Yeah, it's tricky because we don't have that in English. That's for sure.
Right. It depends on what your definition of is.
That's true. That is true. So, Jared, I don't have any jokes, but I do have some puns.
Okay.
So I hope you're ready. So, Jared, what do you call a beautiful pumpkin?
What's that?
Gorgeous. Time for some cow jokes, Jared. What do you call a cow with no legs?
I don't know.
Ground beef.
Ah.
What do you call a cow with 2 legs?
I have no idea.
Lean beef.
Okay.
What do you call a cow on stilts?
I have no idea.
High stakes.
This is so dumb.
So, Jared, what did the man say after he got over... Oh, no, that won't work. Just gave away the punchline. Okay, I'm going to just say the pun. I tried to make it into a joke. I used to be afraid of hurdles, but I got over it.
A guy walked into a bar and said, ouch. Speaking of puns.
There you go. There you go. And the last one we'll do, let's see here. What do you call a bear with no teeth?
I don't know.
A gummy bear.
That's pretty good. I like that one.
That was all right. Plus, gummy bears are delicious. So there you go. There you go. Well, we hope you all have enjoyed this episode about travel in the future. We'll see in 5 to 10 years what we got right and what we got wrong. I'm curious to see.
We'll still be here.
Yep, that's for sure. I think I really hope that you're right, though, Jared, that travel will become more accessible, cheaper, and also more convenient, which I think definitely will. And I hope that travel will also become more social and people can connect even more through travel, which would be absolutely amazing.
Yes. One thing I forgot to mention to talk about the VR thing is the one thing that I don't look forward to regarding VR, because that's definitely going to be a thing. Being able to see places through VR and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
I'm really not looking forward to people being like, I don't need to actually travel there. I saw it through my Oculus Rift glasses or whatever.
Right.
That's going to bother me because it's like, yeah, you see what it looks like, but that's only like a small portion of actually traveling to other places.
Oh, for sure. I mean, traveling places, it's about the vibe. It's about the smells. It's about obviously the sights as well. But I think until there's a way that you can do VR where you can replicate everything, it's just not the same. It's a simulation. It's like if you're, doing a simulation of like driving a race car is not the same thing as actually driving a race car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So true. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what's in store for the future, and we're curious to see. Let us know what you think travel will look like in the future at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Also, check out our Instagram. We won't have any futuristic travel shots, but we do have some good current travel shots, that's for sure.
You betcha.
Which is Untranslatable Podcast. Check out our website, untranslatablepodcast.com, for Untranslatables, our episodes, and some other cool stuff as well. Also, check out our YouTube channel for our videos if you want to see Jared's beautiful face and my slowly returning beard. And
You
also,
betcha.
please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Give us some feedback. We want to know how we can better improve this and help all of
Spread a
you
little
out.
love.
So spread that love, and we really look forward to bringing you some new content in the near future. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme a muchas gracias.